Thank you, everybody, for coming to join us in this channeling transmission. My name is Tyler Ellison, and I have been doing trance channeling since about 2014. And for me, trance channeling is something I experience vocally. For those that are new to this concept, trance channeling is where a practitioner can go into a meditative state. They're able to synchronize their consciousness with the consciousness of another being. This allows for there to be psychic communication, telepathy, telepathy, as some people call it. And while the practitioner's in the meditative state receiving the telepathic messages, they're able to vocalize those messages in real time. So they sort of act like a telephone for different forms of consciousness to be able to communicate with our physical reality. I've channeled a myriad of different beings, and the main entity that I channel is Ryokah of the Sassani, and he's a very powerful and very wonderful entity. I've been channeling him since about 2019, and he as a being has evolved, and my relationship with him has evolved over the years. He is connected to the Sassanian civilization. This is a hybrid species, about 300 years upline in what we would describe as our future. This is the description that he gives of himself, his people, his civilization. And I have a soul contract, a soul agreement with him, where I'm able to bring his wisdom forth so that way our modern times, our present times, have the wisdom of the future and the guidance of the future to help us move along and develop in ways that are preferential, in ways that are enjoyable, and in ways that are collectively good. He speaks on a myriad of different topics, everything from metaphysics to healing, to shamanism, to geometry, to occult science. There's no shortage of interesting information and powerful esoteric secrets when it comes to Ryokah. In just a moment, I'm going to be going into the trance, and I'll bring Ryokah forth, and he's going to give a message to everybody here about the new Earth frequency, and how to access that. Once he's finished with that message, then we're going to have an opportunity for participants to be able to bring their questions to him. So I think we have some people that are present in person. We have some people that are present online. So when we are into the question portion, I'll leave that up to the hosts and the co-hosts to help allocate the mute, unmute, microphone passing dynamics that are a part of usual Q&As. So thank you, everybody, so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. I know my friend Rob Galathier was just out in Ibiza with all of you, and he was so kind in inviting me, and it's been so nice to connect with everybody. I got to meet some new folks today, and of course, I'm excited to meet all of you, and I'm looking forward to exploring with you as Ryokah, and it's going to be exciting to get into your questions and whatever topics of conversation are particularly interesting and exciting for you. I'm not sure how many people we have joining, so we'll try to get through as many questions and questioners as possible. And with that being said, everybody, I'll start to shift gears now. I'm going to go into the trance state. I'll bring him forth, and then we will receive the wisdom from Ryokah of the Sassani. Enjoy, my friends. Thank you. We thank you all for joining us for this ecstatic co-creative interaction that we share with one another this here, this now, of our collective and respective experience of multi-dimensional reality. It is, of course, a great joy to commune with all of you. For Earth humans, in many ways represent my species' ancestry. So when I am having interactions with all of you, it is as if I am interfacing with the ancestral wisdom stored within my own DNA. I know that in this interaction, many of you are oriented outwardly. You're looking at a screen as the channel speaks these words. However, when I'm interacting with all of you, I am not projecting my voice externally. Instead, I am, in a sense, closing my eyes. I'm bringing my senses and my attention into myself. I'm interfacing with my genetics, and I am interacting with the dimension of my DNA that resonates with your collective expression of physical reality. So whilst all of you are experiencing an outward reception, if you will, of this wisdom, of this energy, for me, the transmission of this wisdom, of this energy, is an internal process that through my genetic body of light broadcasts outwardly. So through me meditating upon the inner structure of my being, the genetic code, that genetic code then sends out a broadcast signal that begins to resonate with different frequencies of time, this experience, this manifestation of the here and now being one of those frequencies of space and time that is resonant with my focus, with my attention. I am interacting with many different versions of your Earth, many different versions of humanity. Many of you have heard that there are multiple timelines that are running parallel to one another, all existing simultaneously. This is very much the case. This is very much the nature of the Earth experience. You will find that as you continue onward upon your unique timeline, you will find that your timeline continues to mirror you to greater and greater and greater degrees. And this is a part of your parallel reality shifting process. You as a unique co-creator are accessing your own unique version of Earth, your vibrational frequency. That can be measured as your auric electromagnetic pulse has an organizational power and effect. As you know, physical reality is only pretending to be physical. Everything is vibrating, everything is moving, everything is buzzing, it's humming with life. And when your auric field, when your heart-mind field is aligned with the heart-mind field of the source, you will find that you cause the molecule.
Trisha out. Did we report her? Because she's trying to get back in now. Says
One moment.
We checked it.
Having someone speak over the transmission, whom sounds like they are a part of your staff.
I didn't recall. I didn't recall. I didn't think we did.
One moment. Oh, one moment. We will wait for the talking to cease. It is our hope and desire that you can still hear us. Yeah. And we will proceed. Your genetic body of light is in constant communication with the vibrational processes of all external manifestations. As I was saying, the outer reality is only pretending to be physical. It is buzzing, it is vibrating, it is humming with life. Your aura is also vibrating, pulsating with life. And it is your auric field of light that interfaces with the vibrational potential and energetics of physical reality. And through your heart-mind connection being aligned with the heart-mind connection of the source, you cause external reality to mirror that alignment, to mirror that structure. You will find that your unique alignment with the source is just as unique as your genetic code. Just as you experience yourself to be a unique creation, your relationship with the source, your relationship with the flow of life is also unique and specific to you. Your relationship may look similar to the relationships that others possess with the spirit of life. Nevertheless, your relationship, your connection will be unique to you. How you express that, how you channel that will be unique to you. And it is the channeling of that source self that is your birthright and that allows for you to manifest your gifts here on earth. When you know yourself as only the ego, you will have only the past to really draw upon. But when you know yourself as the source, you will access the timeless realms that are beyond your physical reality, that are beyond your timeline. And when you do this, you are able to draw upon many sources of inspiration, many sources of energy that you can use to flavor, to empower, to structure and organize your vortex, your electromagnetic aura. And as you draw upon these greater frequencies of potential, your physical reality will continue to mirror those new frequencies of potential that you bring in. Whenever you imagine something, whenever you use your mind's eye to contemplate a reality, to contemplate a potential, to contemplate an experience, whenever you're doing this, you are opening a gateway within your aura, a portal within your aura that allows for you to actually form a type of telepathic connection with that reality that you are focusing upon. And you can become quite sophisticated with that connection. You can begin to draw energy from it. You can begin to draw wisdom from it. And you can begin to channel that energy through your body, through your chakras, into your life. And in that way, you can blend your timeline, you can blend your unique reality experience with the reality experience and timelines of others. If you only know yourself as ego and physical, you will really only have your own past to draw upon. But when you know yourself as the source, you will find your imagination becomes unlimited. You will also find that your belief in your ability to create whatever you need to create will also increase greatly, because if you know yourself as the source, well, then you must also possess, relatively speaking, the three major powers of the source: omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence. And as you develop that knowingness within you, and as you strengthen that heart-mind alignment with the heart-mind alignment of the source itself, you become more and more and more like the source. The source holds your unique soul blueprint. As you channel those energies through you, your electromagnetic field resonates with the vibrational pulse of physical reality, causing physical reality to follow in your footsteps. And you then leave a pathway for others to follow in your footsteps. They're able to learn by your example. You are in that way showers. Whenever you choose alignment, whenever you choose the higher road, whenever you choose to follow your passion and your joy, you are acting as a way shower. You are burning like a torch, and you are leading others. Even if you find on your path of exploration and development, there is a lot of isolation or solo experiences, as you say. Remember, multidimensional beings are learning from it. They are able to gaze upon your earth reality, and they are able to see all of the challenges you have outlined and organized for yourselves, and they watch you overcome those challenges. They watch you go through your processes, and they are able to learn from that. And it is a form of multidimensional education for many species. It is also a form of entertainment as well. There are many species who get a good chuckle out of your human processes on Earth. And there are also those who deeply learn from your Earth experience. So remember, you are always leading, even if it appears that you are alone. You're always leading by example. So we thank you for showing your collective what is possible. We thank you for showing your Earth the vibrational codes that you would like to see manifested. Remember that the new Earth is greatly connected to your concept of the golden age. It is greatly connected to what has been described as your age of Aquarius. It is also correspondent with what has been described as the Aeon of Ma'at, following the Aeon of Horus. So let us talk about this new Earth and how to begin to access it. As we mentioned, through the heart-mind coherence and the alignment of the heart-mind connection with the heart-mind connection of the source, the original blueprints for yourself, for life itself, can be accessed. And as you channel that through you, through your breath, through your focus, through your intention, through your actions, you then broadcast those codes into the physical reality experience, and gradually physical reality begins to mirror that back to you. When you ground those codes into nature, you will find that the physical reality shifting process, the transformation process, is sort of fast forwarded. So you have the natural helpers on your planet, the trees, the tree people, who create beautiful oxygen for you. They transform your CO2. They nutrify your soils, and they draw in to the earth experience the cosmic energies that are meant to update the genetic information connected to the beings relevant to the ecosystems and natural environments of your world. So the trees play a very powerful role, a very big role. It is important that you discover your tree, and I will describe this process in your area, in your local area. There is a tree whom is a vibrational match for your unique genetic body of light. Just as you have the idea of a soulmate or a twin flame who perfectly mirrors you, who perfectly matches you in that way, you also will have in your local area a tree who energetically plays that role. They're able to mirror your likeness, but they do it through a tree form whilst you do it in a human form. Discover this tree. Find this tree in your area. It will be specific to you. Once you find this tree, begin to meditate with it. Have your back against the tree. To start to spend some time with it each day, building a relationship. From here, once the relationship has been made and the tree and you have synchronized energy fields, now you can start to get a little bit more sophisticated, and you can work with the tree for manifestational purposes. So think of the type of earth that you would like to live upon. And of course, there are many dimensions to this subject. You have what you would describe as your global concept of Earth, and you also have what you would describe as your personal concept of Earth, how you experience Earth as an individual. Go into a deep visualization and observe what that ideal global and personal Earth looks like. And once you have really gone through that immersive visualization, get out a piece of paper and write some type of poem that describes what you saw, that describes the vision. Channel the vision into words. And from here, take this piece of paper with your poem and get some string and attach it to a crystal. You can use whatever crystal you sense and feel complements that poem and complements that energy. Attach the poem to the crystal. From here, travel to that sacred tree that is local to you and bury this poem and this crystal by the tree. And each day when you meditate by the tree, sit on top of the poem and the crystal buried within the soil. And begin to repeat that visualization that you saw, that inspired you to write that poem. And as you do the visualization exercise by the tree, sense that the visualization is expanding outwardly. It's expanding downwardly into the earth, following the tree roots. It's expanding up into the cosmos, following the tree's branches. And it's expanding outwardly into the environment, following the naturalistic flow of energy on the surface level. And begin to use that tree that matches your frequency as a broadcasting station for your new earth and as an energetic station of attraction. With the meditation by the tree, you will also summon to that area the codes of energy that are required for the experience of that new earth. Many people, when they meditate indoors, and this is very useful for containing energy. As you know, many of your indoor spaces are cubic in nature. The cube is a matrix generator. So when you meditate indoors and do spiritual processes indoors, there is a level of containment and structure that is presented. Nevertheless, the cube, the box, can become a type of limit. The same kind of energies circulate within those structures. But when you do meditations outdoors, in the forest, by trees that share an energetic link with you, now what you will find is you've sort of stepped out of the box. And now you're thinking outside the box, as you say. You're able to attract in all types of new energies, all types of new potentials that you can't really get in those indoor spaces in the same way. So shifting your meditational focus to involve nature in such a way will allow for you to access the codes of light that are needed for your summoning of your preferential version of Earth. This transmission is multi-layered. You will find that throughout the transmission, there are a variety of different energies that are being shared with all of you. So you can empathize more greatly with the nature of nature and the nature of these teachings that we share. Think of every word that flows through the channel's mouth as a word that is buzzing with psychic energy. So when you listen to this transmission the first time, there will be an initial meaning, an initial understanding that you glean. If you listen to it a second time, that additional energy and the packets of light and information contained within will begin to open up, and new meanings, new revelations, and new understandings and potentials will be unveiled. We thank you for receiving this update. We thank you for being stewards of the new earth and following your magical paths of destiny and reality co-creation. We make ourselves at this time available for you. If there are questions or topics you would like to share with us for reflection, we are happy to play that role with you. We thank you, dear ancestor.
It's such a pleasure, and there's so much that you said that I need to listen to it over and over. So so many interesting things. So thank you so much for being here today. So I'll start with my first question, and it's about codes. You mentioned codes and DNA codes, and I'm hearing that a lot. And throughout this event that we're holding here in Ibiza, we've heard DNA code, DNA activation, and my understanding of it, and I was talking about this with Chrissy last night, is that so it's not biological DNA. Oh, sorry. Well, there's a sort of spiritual DNA we're talking about, our energetic magnetic field that you mentioned, and then when we talk about codes, and maybe I should just ask you to explain it, but when we talk about codes, we're saying that it's almost like a spiritual neural pathway that once it's been fired in your energetic field, you kind of can't undo it. So if you've been elevated, activated, vibrated to a certain level, you kind of can't go back. Is that kind of part of how codes work when you say we've been activated? And I'll hand over to you. I think the better question would be, could you explain how codes and DNA, crystalline DNA works?
Sure. So do keep in mind that there is really no way to ever go back. You can't go back to who you once were 100%, because every change that you experience summons forth a new version of you. So you're sort of always changing. There's no way around that. So by the time you think of the possibility of perhaps going back to the old way of life, you are an infinitely different person by the time you have even had that thought compared to who you were in that previous time. So you can't really go back. You're always changing. Now, what you can do is you can reflect upon the past, and you can resonate with the energies of the past, and you can sort of recreate those frequencies in the present moment, but you can't 100% go back to that past identity. Number one, you're always changing, and you can never experience the same thing twice. And you have your Zen saying, no one steps foot in the same river twice. The river's always changing. So you can't really go back. You can blend with the energies of the past to create desired effects in your present moment that are similar to some of the effects and experiences of your past. That process of blending with the past, of resonating with the energy of the past, that involves light codes. You're using light codes of the past self. There is the space-time frequency of the past reality, and think of that energy, that information, that is the space-time frequency of the past reality, as an expression of coded light. When you contemplate your future and all of the possibilities, you are drawing upon, like we were saying in the transmission, a literal reality that has a space-time frequency, and that space-time frequency is represented as codes of light. And you begin to channel those codes of light through you, and it blends with your electromagnetic field. And in that way, you and the light codes you have absorbed work together to create new experiences in the present moment. So what are the light codes? The light codes are fundamentally photonic supergeometries. So you experience your photons here in physical reality in two usual forms, particle form and wave form, and that is the duality of the photon when it manifests within a physicalized universal expression. But outside of that context, the photon is unified, a particle and a wave simultaneously. And this type of manifestation forms what we would describe as a superstructure. The superstructure is sort of like a massive fractal molecule. And information, think of them as meta-thoughts, thoughts of the source. These types of energetic impulses travel throughout this structure. And as this multidimensional structure interfaces with physical reality, with the physical universe, the structure begins to express itself in the dualistic framework that is the particle and that is also the wave. These photons in their particle form and wave form carry with them those higher programs that are the thoughts of the source, the thoughts of the foundation. That information then interfaces with your aura, and it then begins to densify more greatly, and it begins to then inform your physical DNA. So think of it like this. You are receiving all types of frequencies of light from your sun, from your planets, from the stars of your cosmos, and also from every living being. There are frequencies of light being emanated. Where does the light come from? It comes from that source realm, where the particle form and the wave form are unified as a superstructure. The superstructure acts as the scaffolding for the source's mind. The source's thoughts are transmitted through that structure as the light codes, if you will. And then, as that structure interfaces with physical reality, those codes are distributed through the myriad of different photonic emanations that are created through the various forms of physical reality. So, we know that's a lot. We talked about the idea of not being able to necessarily go back to the past, but you can draw upon it. And you do that using light codes. So, you will find that there are more interpretations, more answers than even this. But they are the organizing codes. They are the fresh thoughts of the source. And every being is capable of emanating and aligning with them.
Thank you. That's fascinating.
The question of healing and healers comes up very often. And so my question is two-part. Can we help people heal themselves? And how can we prevent ourselves from falling into these earthly bodily sicknesses and transcending in a more, let's say, light, soul, correct, spiritual, perhaps longer life, natural death way?
Sure. So remember that in all interactions, there are energetic dynamics that are taking place. So right now, me and you are conversating, we're using words, but that's only one way that we're communicating. We are also communicating energetically across space and time, because remember, space and time are technically an illusion. In objective reality, we're all seated in the same room, sharing the same environment, if you will. So in this holographic projection, it looks like we're separated by space, to a certain degree time. So there are communications that are taking place that represent all of those various dynamics that are associated with the interaction. So when you are interacting with people, remember that you have the ability to flavor how you are receiving them, how you are perceiving them. You also have the ability to assume certain roles of leadership within the interaction. And what I mean is, in every interaction, there is an alteration between leading and following. And you have the ability to lead people that you interact with in very good directions, leading people better than how you found them, as you say, on your surface. And this type of approach, this type of empathic respectfulness and consideration of the other does wonders for people. Many people get sick. Many people fall ill because of connection issues. They are not fully connecting to the universe. They are not fully connecting to their inner core. They are not fully connecting to the people around them. So they sort of live in a state of pseudo-connection. It's a flimsy connection. If it's a flimsy connection, it's not well anchored. And if it's not well anchored, it can easily be displaced or overthrown. And that is where the deterioration of health and sometimes death comes in. So it's important to really strengthen those connections, and you can help somebody to strengthen those connections. When you behold another being as a citizen of the universe, a child of the source, an ambassador of their ancestral genetic lineage, when you see people in these views of greatness, they start to assume that same view within themselves. That view is more powerful than most of the projections that people bring to a usual interaction. So you holding them in that view will automatically become the organizing principle of the interaction. And as you continue to sustain that, they begin to sustain that type of perspective within themselves, and their strength increases, their health increases, their connection increases. So through vibrational entrainment during your interactions with people, you can greatly affect people. your energy in the most subtle of ways can perform miraculous healing effects. So yes, you absolutely can help people heal. Just as you can go to a person and do the opposite, see them in a very low light, a very negative way, just as you can do that, and that will bring tension to the interaction, that will bring negativity to the interaction, you can do the opposite. See them in a great divine light. Help them to realize those connections. Do so even subtly. And you will have an impact on their life that is a very good one. So if your energy and words can be used to hurt, they can also be used to heal. So never forget that you are incredibly powerful in that way. Now, in terms of what you can do to fortify yourself, so you have a long natural life that is enjoyable with good health span, lifespan, longevity, it is imperative that you have a deep internal connection to your body, to your system. There are many internal systems of health and alchemy and esoteric dynamic. There is a practice we recommend that is quite superior compared to the many methods that exist. It is a Taoist method known as the inner smile technique, the inner smile practice. It's a simple meditation. It involves merging one's consciousness and the organs of the body through the powers of love, self-acceptance, and appreciation. And as one's consciousness merges with the body more deeply, a more powerful connection is made. And now it is harder for the consciousness and the body to separate. The more the meditation is done, the more the consciousness and the body will work as a harmonious team, increasing in power and strength over time. This will generate spiritual power, and it will also generate healthful power as well. Tonic herbs can also be used. Tonic herbs are able to replenish the body. The body has fundamental qualities that can be depleted over time. In the East, these were called the qualities of yin and yang. In some cultures, the qualities of Shiva, Shakti. These fundamentals, through the aging process, the stress process, can deteriorate. And when that happens, it is challenging for the spiritual anchoring needed within the incarnation to be successful. But if you supplement these various foundations with tonic herbs, you will find that there is plenty of energy to keep the consciousness integrated holistically with the body. So, the herbs that look like people are particularly good to use for the powers of embodiment. So think of your ginseng in particular. Another one is Hei Shu Wu, or sometimes referred to as Fo Ti. These are some examples. The medicinal mushrooms in general are also very powerful to work with and can also help one's consciousness to really integrate well with the body, just as the mushroom integrates with the tree and grows off of it. So these are some things that can be done to assist you with that power that is your power of embodiment.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Of course, you are so welcome.
Good evening.
And good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for your beautiful transmission. And I truly love what you explained about what I call the smiling Qigong. In fact, my teacher from integrative medicine, she calls it smiling Qigong for all the organs. And it's a really wonderful practice. So thank you for sharing that with everybody here.
Of course.
I have a question. I've seen a few friends lose children who are truly young, between the ages of 1 and 4, to leukemia and different kind of things. And so I guess my question is the little one dying to show the parents what is wrong in their lives together and individually? Or is it just the child's path? Or is it all three?
Sure. So it is in a certain way, all three. And those different themes will be highlighted to greater or lesser degrees depending on the circumstance, depending on the particular example that you're looking at. For some parents, having their child die very young is a spiritual lesson that's designed to get the parents to face mortality and to also investigate the preciousness of life and the mysteries of life. In a certain way, it's like the child is saying, come find me. Because the child had a spiritual connection to those parents before they were born. And when they died, that spiritual connection still remains. But because of the physical death, many parents will say the child is gone, they're no more. But that relationship still continues. And oftentimes the child will act as a guide to help guide the grieving parents into greater perspectives of spiritual revelation. So there are many different reasons for why this can happen, but that's one example. Spiritual maturation, spiritual evolution, and the child actually transitioning into the role of playing a spirit guide for those parents. And it's not necessarily an easy lesson. It can be a very painful lesson, a very challenging lesson. Nevertheless, it is a dynamic that exists and is one of the ways that the soul will educate and will grow and learn. In terms of other reasons why this can happen, the child dying to communicate an imbalance to the parents, this sometimes happens on your planet in relationship to the people that you are referring to in your own life that you specifically know. We're not detecting this as much, but there are instances on your planet where a child will transition into non-physical, their body will die, and that is a type of communication to parents to get their attention so they can create greater balance, greater health, greater harmony. Because children are quite sensitive. So if there is something that has caused the child to die physically, that is something that the parents can reflect upon, and they can evaluate their own lifestyle to see if there's anything they did to bring that on. If there's anything they had done to create those circumstances. So that is also a lesson that plays out. For some, it is just the child's path. The child just blips into physical reality for a moment, gets what they need, and au revoir. They simply go on to their next adventure. They don't linger. And there are a variety of different reasons for this as to why that can happen. Sometimes the soul just needs a little bit of the human energy. So it can have that energy code present at a later moment in time. With each incarnation, energies are gathered. Certain frequencies of light, certain codes of light are gathered. So that child may have just needed certain codes to unlock certain realities that they perhaps were more excited to explore. So once that information is acquired, they're on their way. So there are all types of different reasons for why this can happen, but usually these three are quite common, and that is why we have addressed them with you here on this day.
Thank you so much.
Of course, you are so welcome.
Hi, as I walk around and pass the microphone, I'm just going to ask another question, and that is, what can we do about the wars that are going on in the world today? So, does it exist if I'm not seeing it? I heard Dolores Cannon once explain that nothing really exists until you're observing it. It's a bit like the wave particle effect. So what could we do about the atrocities that are going on? And is there anything we can do? And then
Certainly. So keep in mind that whenever the thought of war crosses your mind, whenever you find your mind brings up pictures of war or thoughts about it, that is actually a little window opening. And from your personal reality, now you can actually see into the reality where the wars are taking place. And in that moment, you have the ability to create real change. So when you find your mind starts to think about the wars, start to generate thoughts of peace, start to generate thoughts of love, start to generate thoughts of compassion, and continue to project those thoughts of love, peace, and compassion towards the thought that represents the war. And you are shining light from your reality into those realities affected by the war. So if you find you have a deep concern for those whom are suffering with war, and if you find your mind thinks about this, when it happens, slow down and start to send them these energies. Remember that there are words of power relevant to the cultures that are engaged in war. Learn some of the local languages involved in the war in terms of their major words of power. So, for example, learn the word peace in a few different languages and begin to chant that frequency of energy towards the thought, towards the mental projection of the war. This may sound very simple. This may sound perhaps a little too simple. But the other option is the thought of war comes up and a person goes into despair, or they go into blame, or they go into complaining, or they go into rage, you say. So instead of going into those patterns, willfully sit down and start to project those energies that bring in resolution. And if you can, use words of power that represent the languages of those involved, and you will be able to speak their language to a greater degree, and your energy will translate more clearly into their reality. So it's a very powerful thing that you can do. In terms of, is the war happening when you're not thinking about it, when you're not looking at it? It's happening, but not in your reality. Remember, it's an infinite multiverse. All things exist. All things exist right here, right now, all at once, at the same time. So, the realities of war are always there, just as the realities of peace are always there. In terms of your own reality, it is not there for you if you are not focused upon it. And in your reality, you are as free as you allow yourself to be. So your personal reality can be totally absent of war. You can be totally absent of violence. You can be totally absent of cruelty. All of this is possible for you. And you will find that as you continue to sustain that state of alignment, and as you continue to create greater love, greater peace in your own reality will continue to act as a way shower for those who are connected to those more warlike realities. Remember that with many of the wars, it is theater. And people need to get paid. The actors need to get paid. The producers, the director, they need to get paid. This is why war persists. It is mostly theatrics and a money-making scheme. So, this is why it seems so sticky, and it's why such a barbaric and antiquated form of negotiation still remains. So, you will help those who are in those dynamics to find greater freedom through the vibrational emanation of peace that you create within your local reality, And each time you choose to broadcast those energies to them, you are actually creating a portal. I will say that again. When you broadcast those energies of peace and love, and when you do that in the language of the people you're trying to help, you will create a portal in their reality. And those that are resonant with it will actually be able to leave the war reality. It will look different for different people in different instances, but this is how these types of transitions and miraculous moments of salvation can happen. You hear all types of stories of people being at the right place, the right time, and they narrowly avoid death. They narrowly avoid capture. They're able to flee and find sanctuary. This is the power of the prayers that people send, the energies of peace and salvation that people project. It opens portals so those whom are resonant with that energy can transition out of those realities and timelines of destruction. So it makes a big difference. Without you doing that, there's less of those portals. So you have that power.
I love that. Thank you.
Of course. We thank you for your question.
There must be burning questions. I've got loads. Anyone? Yeah. Isa.
Hello.
Greetings.
A question, please. A curiosity. How is your world? Do you have friends? Do you speak with someone? Because I think your world like mine world, but I'm curiosity to know what do you do?
So, my world is my consciousness. So, my home world, which has been called Sassani, is a location that I visit from time to time for ceremonial purposes, for celebratory purposes, and for research purposes. My home world is very lush. Think of a planet that is almost incredibly naturalistic, almost entirely untouched, no structures, natural forests, natural ecosystems that have been allowed to prosper and grow. My species used to create structures on our home world. Those structures were designed to be temporary structures, and there was sort of a nomadic dimension to my people originally. We would travel from place to place to place, following the different currents of energy that would flow throughout the ley line network of Sassani. Later in our evolution, we became increasingly less and less and less physical. We became increasingly less and less and less dependent on our home world, on our planet. So we are now spacefaring. I adored myself with a nanocrystalline skin suit attire that is able to resonate with the signature frequency of my home world. So no matter where I am in the cosmos, it is as if I am on my home world. This allows for me to adapt rather quickly to a myriad of different realities that would otherwise choose, perhaps express in a less... One moment. It allows for me to adapt to a myriad of different realities that would otherwise be more challenging for me to function in. Think of environments that have very low oxygen. Think of environments that have very extreme temperatures. With the nanocrystalline skin suit, I am able to maintain a level of ease and comfort almost at all times. So it's like I'm always on my home world, even when I am off board. In terms of how I relate to the other members of my society, it is purely telepathic. So here in this conversation, there are many words being used. These words are a translation of the energy pulsations that my mind is creating. So those whom are a part of my species, we communicate using just the energy emanations. The energy is observed, it is seen purely, and is sort of instantly translated through the language of clarity and understanding. It's not based on words. It is based on clear perception. We are able to communicate in multidimensional ways. So just as you use words to describe your five senses when you're telling stories, our literal experiences all the way to the physical senses and beyond is communicated through our telepathic, energetic connection and network of communication. In terms of what I usually do for fun, I am a type of mentor, a teacher, if you will, and I train various hybrid beings, usually hybrid children, and those who are developing in the esoteric arts, in the energetic arts, so they can continue their evolution in a very accelerated way, with a very accelerated momentum. There are certain beings whom have focuses that are less oriented towards the pathways of consciousness. For those young hybrids whom are focused upon consciousness, whom are focused upon developing their multidimensional self and body, I act as that mentor. And this is a part of my passion, it's a part of my joy, and it is also what I share with your people as well.
Thank you. It's a nice word.
Thank you. Oh yes, we enjoy it quite a bit, and it has, of course, brought us to you. Remember, we asked our world in our ancient days to reveal to us our ancestry. So our world has led us to yours.
Nice, thank you.
Of course, you are so welcome.
Son?
We are aware of the time. We know that we have been conversing with all of you for about an hour. So just a quick time check.
I just wanted to ask you, from your understanding, does every single human being have a guide or guides? And can you share maybe simple technique how to connect to them or to that guide?
Sure. So you all have guides. It is simply a matter of tuning into them and increasing the strength of the connection over time. So for many Earth humans, they have spiritual guides, but they can't really hear them. They can't really see them. And that might sound like a disadvantage at first, but sometimes that's a part of how the dynamic works. The guide sort of remains in the background and will slip in light codes to the person's consciousness whom they are guiding, and the light code will translate as an interesting idea, an interesting perspective, an interesting energy or viewpoint perhaps they hadn't considered. And it acts as a background influence, a subtle influence. And this is usually how spirit guides work for those whom are not necessarily following a very focused spiritual path. So the spirit guide's more in the background for those that are more worldly, as you say, or for those whom are more physical. But everyone possesses that. Because remember, you come from spirit. Spirit is your true home. It's where your spiritual family resides. We have described physical reality sort of like a video game. Think of an arcade, and there is a machine that allows for you to simulate a lifetime. You are seated at that machine. You're playing that game, and your friends are standing around you. Your family is standing around you, and they are guiding you in the background as you play the game. They're also learning through all of you playing the game. Now, what you will find is that the guides usually only need to play a background role for those who have a physical focus. But for those who have more of a spiritual focus, for those who have a focus that is more greatly anchored in consciousness, there are different life paths that are available to them. And on those life paths, there are all types of spiritual skills and abilities and experiences that are also available to them. The guide, whom exists in spirit, contains within their energy body the schematics for those skills, the schematics for those experiences, the schematics for those potentials. That information becomes increasingly more and more and more relevant for those who are on the spiritual path. This will cause the spirit guide to be less subtle, and the spirit guide will simply start to deliver the information at whatever capacity the recipient is able to receive. And this is where a person has the experience of downloads. It's like a whole book is flowing through them, or a whole protocol, or a whole process, or a whole agenda. And when the connection gets incredibly strong, sometimes they're able to see the being that is reflecting that information and communicating that information to them. So the guides can become incredibly overt, the subtlety can become incredibly diminished, and their presence can become incredibly powerful and obvious. And there is, of course, a balance that must be maintained. Because when a guide is brought through all the way, it is almost like bringing through a spiritual entity. And sometimes when humans are in the presence of such a thing, they turn it into an idol, they turn it into a god. So it is important to also maintain a level of balance, humility, and also authority when working with one's guides, not to excessively glorify them, but also not to place oneself so far below them that they can barely look up at them. So have balance when working with your guides. And remember, they are guides. They're not supposed to necessarily run the show. It is your experience. It is your process. It is your performance, if you will. They are there to give you pointers. They're there to act as mentors and coaches to help you refine the skills that you have come here to refine and to explore, that are a part of your life's work, your life's mission, your passion, your joy. In terms of strengthening that connection with them, there's all types of ways you could do this. For you personally, I recommend do journaling. Like you are journaling to the guide. Do it before bed. Thank you, spirit guide. Even though I'm just getting to know you, even though I can only slightly feel your energy, I know you're there. I know you're helping me. I know you are working with me, and I deeply appreciate it. Thank you for helping me in this instance during the day. It really meant a lot to me. It is my will to know you more clearly, more deeply. Thank you for revealing yourself to me. And then sign, date the entry. Then go back and write a follow-up, but write the follow-up as if you are the guide. Go into a meditative state. Visualize what the guide is like. You had to imagine your spirit guide. If you could design a spirit guide for yourself, if you could choose a spirit guide for yourself, what would they look like? What would they feel like? What would they sound like? Where would they be from in the universe? Put yourself into that projected visualization. And once you feel that energy, respond to your original entry as the spirit guide. Do this every day for a week before bed. And you will receive very deep revelations and realizations about your guide and the relationship you have had throughout the lifetime.
That was incredible. I think we've actually, we're up for time. And so that was the last question. So thank you so much for coming through, for everything you're doing for humanity, and for the gifts of this evening. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. We appreciate all of you as well. It was very beautiful and amazing to partake in this co-creation and to receive the very beautiful energies you are all sharing with us and your fellow humans. Thank you for walking your paths. Thank you for shining brightly. Our unconditional love to you all, now and always. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Wow, Tyler, thank you so much. This was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Fascinating. We really, really appreciate you joining with us today, and for everything that you're doing as well to help humanity, help expand our awareness and bringing through the gifts that you bring through. So thank you so much. And where can people find out more about you, Tyler? What's the best place?
Yeah, absolutely. For people that want to connect on YouTube, where we have daily videos that are released and clips like this, Health Thyself, that's my YouTube. And I can also be found on Patreon, The Galactic Guide, GUIDE 111. And we also have the galacticguide.com for private sessions and for training in things like meditation or magic and channeling as well. So thank you guys for making this possible. I had a blast, and I can feel all of the amazing energy from your gathering, broadcasting through the camera. So I appreciate it. It's a very warm and enjoyable feeling.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And we send you our love, and we really our gratitude for tonight. And we look forward to staying connected with you as well.
Hey, absolutely. I look forward to that as well, my friends. And I'm wishing you a great night. Enjoy the other presenters, and I'll speak to you guys soon.
Excellent. Thanks, Tyler. Bye.
You're welcome.